Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the Driving My Mind podcast. We're doing it a little bit different today. I'm on my way to the movies to go see Mission Impossible. I'm a huge Tom Cruise fan, and religion aside and all that, I think he's one of the best actors out there in Hollywood. So anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. This is a little bit different, and it's actually a perfect opportunity to talk about today's topic. Does mileage matter? So I'm in my daily, and it has 238,884 miles. That I just need 1,000 more miles, and I have officially made this truck to the moon myself, and of course the previous owners. This is almost a 25-year-old truck, right? So I wanted to talk to you guys today about mileage and why it's a big topic, and why it can truly give you the opportunity to buy a very good car, or unfortunately have to pay a premium for something when you don't really need to. So to answer your question right away, so if you need to tune out after this, you can tune out. Does mileage matter? Yes, it does. Okay, I mean, look at the business that Kelly Blue Book and all those people decide that make money off of cars based on their packages, right? And their mileage, right? A truck, a GMC Sierra Denali, could be worth $45,000 because it has only 20,000 miles, and the same exact year, same exact packages, same exact everything. If it has 80,000 miles, it's now worth 15,000, because trucks tend to depreciate a lot more based on mileage. Even it could be the top of the line Sierra Denali, it's still going to go down in price simply based on mileage. But there are gems out there, friends, that you can have a bunch of miles on it and it's not going to go down very much at all. For example, let's take a rare car, right? Let's take a Ferrari 458, right? Who was an amazing car at the time, and then it kind of slipped into depreciation because, hey, it's a Ferrari, right? And then now all of a sudden the prices are going up, and you're looking at a Ferrari 458 with 30,000 miles versus 10,000 miles. The price difference isn't that much. You're talking about maybe $20,000 to $30,000 in price difference for nearly 20,000 miles in range. And so you say to yourself, what in the world is going on, right? Well, it's because it's a Ferrari 458. It's an extremely rare vehicle to access and own, and all the owners that have it are keeping them now because they keep shooting up in value. So I'm sure that's going to happen to these Porsche GT3s and GT2 RSs, maybe even the Cayman GT4s, where you're going to find examples, and they're going to have 3,000 miles on them. They're going to have 30,000, 20,000 miles on. We met a Cayman GT4 owner that was his daily, and it had nearly he said it was 30,000 miles. By now, because it's been over a year, it's probably at 40,000 miles, 45,000 miles. And you know what? That car is still worth a premium because, hey, it's a Porsche Cayman GT4, right? It was a manual transmission too. So that's gonna definitely play a role, is if the car is an expensive kind of car. I have no idea who's calling. I am going to decline. Next, you're talking about cars based on mileage that depreciate because no one wants them. Or I should say mileage doesn't matter, is cars that nobody wants. You could take a look at the LC500, right? An amazing car. I mean, I got one because it's the last hurrah of the Japanese V8. And so you got those kind of cars on the used market, whether it has 3,000 miles or 20,000 miles, those cars are just depreciating. It truly doesn't matter, right? Because, you know, Lexus doesn't sell that many, and any of the owners, they drive them for a year or two and then they, you know, ship them out, right? They trade it in for a C8 Corvette or something different, right? And so we come to this issue where you can have a low mileage car just for the fact that nobody wants them. Well, you're gonna lose out, and that's where, you know, mileage doesn't matter, and you're gonna be hitting the natural curve of depreciation regardless. The funny thing about Toyota and Lexus, and what I tell people, and Doug DeMiro mentions that too, Savage Geese mentioned as well, is those cars, they start to appreciate when they stop making them. Always. The Supra, the MR2, hopefully the LC500, right? And so we'll have to wait and see, well, does mileage matter? If I keep the miles low on the Lexo, you know, will it be worth a ton more than, you know, the LC500 that was used as a grand tourer, you know, traveling up and down the coast of California, Highway 1? Will that be actually worth more than, you know, Joe Schmo? And that's where you have to consider yourself the drivability, reliability of the car you're purchasing, where mileage does matter. Toyota Lexus product, you can buy a higher mileage Toyota. Look at Facebook Marketplace. How many, you know, 300,000 mile Toyota Lexus cars can you find that are still worth a pretty penny, right? Because they were well taken care of. But you go look at yourself a BMW, you go look at yourself at a Range Rover, and you see, like, oh my God, like after 1 year of ownership, it's depreciated nearly 40%, right? So if I bought a Range Rover Discovery for $150,000, in 1 year, it's almost worth $75,000, $80,000, right? That's nearly 45%, 50% depreciation, regardless of miles. And that's where, you know, the reliability and dependability of the car come into factor. Look at these BMWs. Nobody wants a BMW like an E92, my dream M car, right? V8, 4.4 liter, high revving. You're talking about them, if the rod bearings haven't been done, oh, it's a ticking time bomb, right? And so you look at the mileage, oh, you know, 60,000 miles, 50,000 miles for like a 2013, like one of the last gens. You're like, oh my God, this is amazing. However, the rod bearings haven't been done. Well, I'm not paying them a premium regardless. And that's funny because now you go into that other territory I mentioned before, where it's such a rare car that, you know, you kind of, you know, if you want a 2012, 2013 model, you end up ponying out regardless of rod bearings. But either way, like, that would be a huge negotiation factor, is that, like, oh, you know, you don't have the rod bearings done. You know, that's a $3,000 job that you're gonna make me do myself. $3,000 to $5,000, I'm sure now, with labor rates going up. But a lot of these Beamers, even the F80 Beamers, they've depreciated so much regardless of miles. Why? Because we know that, oh, you need to do the crank hub, or you need to do you know, certain spots of the interior wear out. And so you can have the cleanest example, but miles doesn't matter for anything. And so it's I don't have my notebook, as you can tell, obviously. I've reviewed my notes right before leaving, but those are kind of the major points I wanted to hit. Does mileage matter? Of course it does, but you have to look at the varying instances of drivability and reliability. You know, high mileage Toyota, high mileage older Honda, because some of these new Hondas are, you know, kind of iffy. But you're looking at those kind of cars where, you know, people are still spending $5,000 or $6,000 on a freaking Toyota ES350, you know, with 400,000 miles on it. You know, you have to look at drivability, reliability. You have to look at rarity, right? A 458 is going to keep its value whether it has 10,000 miles or 30,000 miles. The price difference isn't that much. So if you can find a low mileage example for sale You know, there's just so many comps, right? You almost have to treat these freaking cars like real estate now. There's so few comps, it's really hard to price the market. You can use Nada, KBB, TrueCar, but you know, with Rarity, you know, you're just trying to see what cars were sold for and try to price accordingly. And so you know that you have something special, 458 Italia, then I'm gonna boost that sucker to the moon, right? So you got drivability, dependability, rarity, and most importantly, just the known issues, right? Kind of similar to drivability, reliability. You have those BMWs, you have those Land Rovers that as soon as you drive them off the lot, you know, they've depreciated 40%, right? But at the end of the day, that's partially, there's a reason why. A reason why is I have to do a bunch of this junk to it. I have to, you know, and there's so many of them made that it's harder and harder to find such a clean example. And we go again, ties back to Rarity. There's a lot of GT4, you know, Cayman GT4s made. There's not a lot of, you know, GT2 RSs made. So that's where you get into that gray area of the two extremes that I've mentioned. But again, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for hearing more of a, I don't want to say ramble. It's not as I guess intently focused as I normally am when I'm at my desk, I'm at my workstation, I have my mic. You know, I'm gonna have to transfer the audio for this to my RSS feed, but I appreciate you guys' time. Does mileage matter? Yes, it does, but you have to look at what kind of car it is at the end of the day, and its rarity and its drivability, reliability. So thank you guys for tuning in. Check out Your Ride and I, my YouTube channel. I didn't end up any car shows this past weekend. I know Local Car Scene had a big one, and the IE Honda had a good one too up in Riverside, but it was my weekend to go shooting and do USPSA, so I just stuck with that. And you know, this is my last week of summer school, but I can't wait to go see Mission Impossible, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. I gotta focus in as I'm pulling in on Winchester, but I appreciate your guys' time. Continue to listen to the podcast, stay positive, keep driving your mind, stay driven. I will catch you guys on the next one. See ya. Look at that Miata in front with a beautiful blonde riding passenger. Oh man, lucky guy, lucky man.